Chapter 509 Fusion. She's back. Tang Wutong was in a daze as she looked at Huo Yuan not far from her. Right now, for some reason, she felt that the distance between him and her was so far that it was unbridgeable. Tang Wutong took in a deep breath and tried to get rid of that feeling. However, everything was in vain. She knew that she wouldn't be able to forget the look in his eyes as he gazed at Wang Donga. She was now immersed in Wang Donga's world. Finally, the golden projection in the sky slowly dimmed down as Huo Yuan looked on reluctantly. The night sky became quiet once again, and all of Shrek Academy seemed to quiet down with it. Is this even humanly possible? How did he do this? Were the questions in every student's mind. Only the more experienced inner courtyard students and teachers could roughly guess that it was the most advanced self-invented soul skill of a soul master. Only the most outstanding soul masters could do something like this. Furthermore, Huo Yuan's self-invented soul skill fused his martial soul, soul power, and spiritual power. It even contained his emotions, his yearning for Wang Donga. It was the fist of remembrance, a fist containing a surging feeling of remembrance. The yearning in Huo Yuan's eyes was slowly withdrawn. What replaced it was a deep look. He looked at Bai Sei again and nodded to her. Do you still want to challenge me now? Bai Sei laughed bitterly and shook her head. She replied, although I knew that the gap between you and me was huge, I didn't expect it to be that huge. I've already lost my courage to challenge you. I'll consider it again when I have the courage. As she finished speaking, she paused for a moment and took a serious look at Huo Yuan before saying, however, senior, did you know? After you demonstrated this move, I've become even more curious about you. I've even developed an admiration for you. To me, admiration should be the precondition for love. I won't give up easily. I'll work harder to understand you. I heard that you're from the Tang Sect. After I graduate, I want to join the Tang Sect. Huo Yuan smiled and said, the Tang Sect welcomes you, and I accept your challenge anytime. All right. Bai Sei answered. After this, she turned to Zhang Lesun and Han Ruo and said with a high-pitched voice, seniors, I've already decided to pull out of this fated blind date. After seeing what Senior Yuan has demonstrated, I'm only keen on cultivating further. I'll make a move first. After she finished speaking, she jumped away and proceeded towards the shore. After watching her leave, Zhang Lesun revealed a frustrated look on her face. She thought to herself, Yuan is too charismatic. He can infect anyone everywhere he goes. Huo Yuan had already turned his attention to number 11, Sutong. Sutong still had her bamboo hat and veil over her head, the veil still covering her face. At least on the surface, no one could tell what her feelings were. At this moment, Huo Yuan's 7 soul rings slowly winked out. Don't you want to demonstrate your abilities to me, too? What I want to see are not your self-invented soul skills, Sutong said to Huo Yuan in a high-pitched voice. However, if she could hear her voice right now, she would definitely be stunned to discover that she lacked some of the self-confidence she normally possessed. Huo Yuan nodded at her and said, I'll satisfy you. Then, soul rings started to rise from Huo Yuan's body again. However, everyone was shocked to find out that the soul rings that re-emerged weren't the same color as they were before. They were different now. Of the 7 soul rings that rose earlier, the first one was white. This time, the first soul ring to rise was red, blood red. It was as red as Shrek Academy's uniform, even deeper and darker. It was a red that represented strength. 100,000-year soul ring. Many people exclaimed in astonishment. What followed were the rest of Huo Yuan's soul rings. They left everyone in complete shock. There were 7 more soul rings after the first one, 4 orange and 3 red ones. In total, there were 8 soul rings. Half were orange, and half were red. A red soul ring was a 100,000-year soul ring. This was basic knowledge that every soul master knew. But what did orange represent? The students from Shrek Academy, whether they were from the inner or outer courtyards, had never heard of orange soul rings before. They didn't even know what an orange soul ring represented. Everyone was flabbergasted. They looked at Huo Yuan like he was a freak. Huo Yuan gradually lit up with a jade green glow. All 8 soul rings were quietly drifting around him. The clear water of the Sea God's Lake started to crystallize at an alarming speed. Very soon, a tough icy layer spread all the way beneath the feet of both the male and female students on Sea God's Lake. As the surface beneath them hardened, they were able to relax in controlling their soul power. The speed of the crystallization was even increasing. In just a matter of seconds, the entire Sea God's Lake rippled with a layer of icy fog. Yes, Sea God's Lake had frozen up. The entirety of Sea God's Lake was covered with ice. The temperature in the air dipped significantly in just a short period of time. Everyone could sense the intense chill. However, the outer courtyard students could still handle the chill, as the chill only came from the surface of the lake. Without even using a soul skill or performing any visible action, Huo Yuan managed to freeze the entire Sea God's Lake. Although Sea God's Lake wasn't a true lake, it was still expansive. How easy was it to freeze the whole thing? Moreover, Huo Yuan had unleashed 8 soul rings, and the color of every soul ring was astonishing. The students of Shrek had all heard that he had twin martial souls. However, it was their first time seeing twin martial souls with their own eyes. He had 2 martial souls. One was 7 ringed, and the other was 8 ringed. He was a soul Douluo who was barely 20 years old. If Huo Yuan was only a myth in the academy in the past, he was now transforming according to the myth right now. Even Elder Sun was astonished. Since when did this fellow have 8 soul rings? They're even 100,000-year soul rings. Yan Xiao took this opportunity to say, Elder Sun, now do you believe that he doesn't have to wait until the future to replace me, right? He can just directly take over from you. Huo Yuan calmly said to Sutong, who was standing where she was without saying anything or moving an inch. If you can turn the lake back into water, you win. You should know that ice-type controllers like us take control of temperature first. I'm not taking advantage of you in any way. Sutong nodded silently. However, she didn't say anything before suddenly jumping up and heading. Everyone around knew that she couldn't undo what Huo Yuan had managed to do so easily. Huo Yuan turned to Zhang Lesun and Han Ruo and said, seniors, let's leave the lake frozen. It will melt slowly on its own. It'll also make things easier for the other students of this fated blind date. Apologies for taking everyone's time. Huo Yuan nodded at the male and female students to acknowledge them. I should be able to leave now. The academy invited me over because they wanted me to demonstrate my abilities and inspire everyone to cultivate. I've helped them achieve their goal. Wait a minute. Huo Yuan appeared slightly dissatisfied as he was halted once again. He wasn't in a good mood right now. He was starting to become a little angry as he was stopped over and over again. However, his anger dissipated when he saw the person who had halted him. There was no more complicated look in Tang Wutong's eyes now. Her determined gaze was flashing with golden light. Even though she wasn't Wang Donga, she still looked very similar to her. No matter what, Huo Yuan couldn't bring himself to be angry with her. You've already demonstrated your abilities to them. What about me? Tang Wutong said calmly. Huo Yuan furrowed his brow and asked, Tang Wutong, are you challenging me? Why not, since the rules allow it? Tang Wutong replied calmly. Huo Yuan sighed and replied, but I don't want to fight you. I'm not in the mood, either. You should know that I won't hurt you. Tang Wutong said, what if I insist? Huo Yuan's eyes flashed, and he said coldly, how do you want to fight? Then, Tang Wutong revealed a smile. It seemed rather weird. It appeared to be a teasing smile, but very uncomfortable, too. When the two expressions came together, it indeed made her smile appear a little odd. Huo Yuan's heart skipped a beat when he saw her smile. For some reason, he felt something was about to happen. Tang Wutong said, forget it. I don't want to fight you either. Although I don't think that I'll lose to you. You taught me that day that I shouldn't bite the hand that fed me. What do you want, then? Huo Yuan asked. Tang Wutong replied, do you still remember our time in the Dalu Empire? Back then, you used your soul power to check my power before you left. I agreed to your request back then. Right now, I want to do the same to you. I want to try what you did. Is that considered fair? I've already let you check me. If you want to leave, you can do so. What? Huo Yuan didn't expect Tang Wutong to make such a request. He was a little confused, as he couldn't figure out what her goal was. Why, are you scared? Tang Wutong looked a little provocative as she stared at him. Huo Yuan shook his head and said, that's not a problem. However, I just want to know what you're checking for. What are you trying to feel in me? He was clearly unconvinced that Tang Wutong only wanted to sense his soul power. Tang Wutong pursed her lips and answered, did you tell me the reason when you did this to me before? You only patronized me with a few words. All right. Do it then. Huo Yuao only wanted to leave now. Furthermore, he was also confident that Tang Wutong wouldn't harm him. The surface of the lake was already frozen solid. Tang Wutong directly walked off of her lotus leaf towards Huo Yuao. Zhang Lisan and Han Ruo didn't stop her. Everyone was watching quietly. Huo Yuao was also unaware what Tang Wutong was going to do, much less the rest of the people. The distance between them closed quickly. Tang Wutong stopped in front of Huo Yuao. She nodded at him and said, "I'm going to begin." Huo Yuao didn't answer, and only quietly spread his arms. It actually looked like he was about to catch her. Tang Wutong's face turned red. After hesitating slightly, she lifted her hands and placed them on his. Tang Wutong's hands were soft and delicate. One could be aroused even touching her tender palms. Huo Yuao was startled, and tried to force himself to detach Wang Donga from his thoughts. However, he realized that he couldn't do so. Tang Wutong and Wang Donga were simply too alike. Even if they were different people, it was almost impossible to not link them together. It wasn't Huo Yuao's first time sensing her soul power, and she gradually poured her soul power into his hands. Precisely because he had experienced it before, he knew that Tang Wutong's soul power was extraordinary. Although it wasn't like his ultimate martial soul, Huo Yuao felt that her soul power was even stronger than his ultimate ice soul power. Her soul power contained something that wasn't in his soul power, something that seemed extraordinary and seemed to have been enhanced. As for what it was, Huo Yuao couldn't say in detail. However, he was certain that it existed. Huo Yuao didn't resist at all. He allowed Tang Wutong to freely pour her soul power into him and touch his soul power. As his cultivation increased, the quality of Huo Yuao's soul power was not that far from Tang Wutong's, especially after he absorbed the manifold mysterious ice essence. Even though there were still some qualitative differences, at this moment, Huo Yuao suddenly saw Tang Wutong smiling. He was a little stunned when he looked at her, as he didn't know why she was smiling. It was at this time that a pair of huge golden wings appeared behind Tang Wutong. Soul rings also started to surface from her feet. Black, 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 red, and red. There were actually 8 soul rings. They were even fully complementary. There were 6 10,000-year soul rings and 200,000-year soul rings. Huo Yuao was astonished at this moment. He also didn't know that Tang Wutong was actually a soul Douluo. She actually has 8 rings already. She went into closed door cultivation earlier so that she could obtain 8 rings. However, even if she has 8 rings and wants to demonstrate her abilities to me, what's the point of doing so? There were dense scaly patterns on her wings, which were dragon wings. Tang Wutong's martial soul was the powerful radiant dragon god's butterfly. Although they were dragon wings, they were still shaped like butterfly wings. Just as Huo Yuao was confused about what Tang Wutong was doing, her forehead suddenly lit up. A golden trident was exuding a strong glow. Huo Yuao instantly felt dizzy when he saw the glow from the golden trident. However, there was a weird sense of closeness as well. An astonishing scene appeared. Tang Wutong's wings fluttered gently, and streaks of golden light started to spread out like fog. As these streaks of light quickly spread, they actually surged towards the trident on her forehead and were quickly absorbed by the golden trident. This was Huo Yuao was shocked as he looked at Tang Wutong. He was the closest to her, and her soul power was inside him, and he could feel it most acutely. However, he couldn't understand what was going on. It wasn't just Tang Wutong's wings that had experienced changes. Even the soul power that was pouring into his body was experiencing changes. Some of the changes were more obvious. The something in her soul power that Huo Yuao had sensed earlier was rapidly weakening, whereas that familiar and close feeling he had sensed was becoming stronger and stronger. The intense discrimination of his soul power was also gradually disappearing. Her soul power and martial soul are actually changing? Is this even possible? Don't tell me that this is a self-invented soul skill. Huo Yuao was a genius, and believed that he had a deep understanding of soul masters, since he was the person who had invented spirits. Moreover, there were also the Snow Empress, Ice Empress, and Sky Dream Ice Worm within him. Much of their knowledge had been imparted to him. However, Huo Yuao didn't get a reply when he tried to call to them. All of them, including the Ice Bear King and the Star Anise mysterious ice grass, were asleep. They didn't respond at all. Slowly, Huo Yuao's eyes opened wider and wider. Tang Wutong's wings were gradually changing. First, her scales became illusory, as if they had been absorbed by the wings. The dragon scales gradually disappeared. The original golden glow also slowly dimmed. The edges of the wings started to turn a dim blue. Furthermore, the color was slowly intensifying. The soul power that Tang Wutong poured into him slowly started to change. It was becoming more and more complementary to his soul power, and even started to entangle itself with it. After this, it even, slowly, gradually, fused. Huo Yuao was in a daze right now. Fuse. It actually fused? Even though the speed of fusion is slow, it's still fusing. It's slow, but continuous. It's as if. It's like it was before. Howdong power. Huo Yuao's heart was shaking. He had only patronizingly raised his hands, but now he subconsciously tightened his grip on hers. The way he looked at her also started to change. The jaw from Tang Wutong's forehead was becoming stronger and stronger as golden light fused with the golden trident. The wings behind her back and the scales on her wings had completely disappeared, and were quickly turning blue. There was now a V-shaped golden pattern covering the blue of her wings. It was no longer the radiant dragon god's butterfly. It was the radiant butterfly goddess. Huo Yuao's heart was completely gripped right now. At this moment, the pain in his heart had completely disappeared. What replaced it was only a strong sense of suffocation. It was his first time experiencing what a miraculous recovery was. At this instant, the seemingly pitch black night sky had finally brightened up. Tang Wutong looked at Huo Yuao. There seemed to be boundless love and yearning in her captivating eyes. She smiled, and her discomfort seemed to have disappeared. What was left was only that teasing look. However, there was a crystal clear tear in her eyes at the same time. On the boat, everyone, including Elder Sun, stood up. They were all stunned. Huo Yuao didn't know what was going on, and neither did they. No one could guess what had actually happened to Tang Wutong. Finally, the last streak of golden light was absorbed by Tang Wutong's golden trident. What was left was only the combination of blue and gold, the combination that he was most familiar with, the combination that he had been thinking of all this time. Am I in a dream? Huo Yuao was in a daze as he looked at Tang Wutong. His voice was trembling madly. It was trembling so much that it didn't even seem like he was talking. Idiot. Tang Wutong snorted. Idiot. What a familiar word. Huo Yuao only felt a stinging feeling in his eyes, and tears flowed out uncontrollably. At this moment, there wasn't any derogatory connotation to this call. It made him feel as if the entire world was blissful. All the negative emotions in his heart seemed to have been split apart and swept away at this moment. He wanted to say something, but there was something in his throat. He couldn't say a single word more. At this moment, soul power surged from Tang Wutong's hands. It was very strong, and instantly surged into Huo Yuao's body. During this process, Huo Yuao's mysterious heaven technique was subconsciously fusing with it. Yes. This was the Howdong power that they both possessed. The last time they had fused was on the Sun Moon Empire's battlefield. Back then, Huo Yuao was not even a soul emperor. Now, they were both soul Douluo. The immense soul power raged through Huo Yuao's body. The soul core in his forehead was stimulated and opened up. His soul power was being enhanced at an alarming speed. It was unprecedentedly strong. Huo Yuao only felt that countless whirlpools seemed to have appeared in his fluid soul power. Every whirlpool was crazily absorbing and compressing soul power, making him stronger and stronger. He was in control of his soul power. It started to take form as it flowed from his right hand through him, out from his left hand, and entered Tang Wutong. Tang Wutong pulled Huo Yuao with both her hands. She pulled so hard that he took a step forward. She was now in his embrace. Suddenly, both their bodies lit up, and their 8 soul rings released a fascinating and unprecedentedly bright glow. Huo Yuao disappeared. A huge vertical eye that was filled with gentleness and love appeared where he was previously. Eye of the Answerer. Tang Wutong also disappeared, and turned into a giant but beautiful radiant butterfly goddess. Her wings closed up and engulfed that vertical eye. All the lights retracted instantly. When they shone again, everyone couldn't help but squint. A tricolored beam made of blue, gold and jade green light appeared. The vertical eye, which seemed so abstruse, as if it were another dimension on its own, shot out from this beam of light. The tricolored beam of light shot 1,000 meters into the sky before turning into a huge beam that seemed to support the entire sky. On the shore, Bei Bei was now in tears as he witnessed everything. He muttered to himself, a golden road amidst withering resplendence. Yes. Wasn't that tricolored beam of light Huo Yuao and Wang Dong's fusion skill, a golden road amidst withering resplendence? 10 years ago, they had used this powerful fusion skill to earn their reputation in Shrek Academy. 10 years later, this fusion skill revealed its true brilliance. It was more than 100 times stronger. A sense of awe could be felt everywhere in the air. That beam of golden light seemed to have permanently imprinted itself on the sky. The huge vertical eye rose into the sky. Two projections lit up at either side of the vertical eye. On one side, there was the ice jade emperor scorpion, which was shining with diamond ice crystals and a jade green glow. The other side was completely black. However, there was a weird golden pattern that flashed. It was the dense and heavy clear sky hammer. The two projections instantly fused into the vertical eye. Suddenly, the vertical eye changed. A jade green hammer surfaced as distorted lights shone. The hammer struck the sky. There weren't any resounding sounds to be heard. However, the entire Shrek Academy shook slightly. A jade green halo that spanned more than 100 meters in diameter appeared in the sky. The inside of this halo was a deep, black and hollow hole. Yes, it had hammered the sky until it cracked. Shu Sanchi was grabbing tightly onto Bei Bei's shoulder. He was muttering word by word, blaze, amidst the frost, the heavenly emperor's hammer. The sky cracked. The two sides of the hammer revealed different projections once again. One side was the rose gold eye of the Asura, while the other side was still the pitch black clear sky hammer. Both the eye and the clear sky hammer fused together. The originally jade green hammer suddenly turned golden. Following this, it disintegrated. Countless small golden hammers flashed past within a region covering 1,000 meters in diameter. Strong spiritual undulations caused everyone to feel stunned. Jiang Nanan sobbed as she threw herself into Shu Sanchi's arms. Hikadu's voice trembled as he said, mantra amidst the void. Spiritual tempest. She's back. Dongo's back. Everything soon returned to a peaceful state. The Ice Jade Empress and Radiant Butterfly Goddess silently surfaced. They gazed at each other. In the next moment, they performed their last fusion. As they fused, there was only a golden pattern left in the sky. Following this, a captivating leg walked out from the hole. A bright golden figure quietly appeared in the void. She was wearing an elegant golden dress. On her forehead, there was a vertical eye with sunray patterns. She was holding a long dragon pike in her left hand. In her right hand, there was golden trident that was filled with dominance, strength and elegance. Her wavy pinkish blue hair drooped behind her back all the way down to her feet. As she appeared, everything around her lost its gloss. A gentle icy fog circled her body, and snowflakes started to dance in the air. This solitary dance amidst the frost, remnant of light. Yes, she was back. Bei Bei, Hikatu, Shu Sanchi, Jiang Nanan and Xia Xiao were all very emotional at this point. They were all good friends with Wang Dongge. When Wang Dongge was still in a coma, Huo Yuao was depressed. But how could they not be depressed too? They only avoided mentioning her name in front of Huo Yuao because they were afraid of triggering his emotions further. However, this didn't mean that they weren't sad. It was just like how Huo Yuao was also very worried about Tanya and risked his life to save her. They were teammates, close friends, sworn friends and Shrek's 7 monsters. Right now, they were all very emotional when they saw the familiar golden road, heavenly emperor's hammer, spiritual tempest and raiment of light. In fact, they had known that Tang Wutong was here for the blind date. Zhang Lisan and Han Riro also knew, but they didn't tell Huo Yuao beforehand. This was because they were afraid of making him feel conflicted. At the same time, they wanted to give him a surprise. Right now, they couldn't contain themselves when they saw what was happening, even though they had already predicted this long ago. The goddess of light descended from the sky as she was surrounded by icy fog, dim golden light, and the ravishing and holy looks of the goddess of light, as well as the eye of destiny on her forehead. Even Yan Shaosh was in awe, even though he was a transcendent Douluo. Everyone could sense how strong the goddess of light was. This was the fusion of light and ice, and the best form that Huo Yuao and Wang Dongge could adopt together. No, it should be the best form that Huo Yuao and Tang Wutong could adopt together. The goddess of light gently landed on the icy surface. She scanned the entire place, and a slight smile appeared on her face. Initially, Huo Yuao had controlled 3 of the 4 fusion skills that Huo Yuao and Wang Dongge shared. Only this goddess of light was mainly controlled by Wang Dongge. At the same time, this fusion skill was the most extreme out of the 4 fusion skills. This was because the goddess of light possessed almost all the abilities that Huo Yuao and Wang Dongge had. She combined her powers perfectly. The goddess of light had appeared once again. Right now, this goddess of light was the combination of the 8-ring Huo Yuao and 8-ring Tang Wutong. A fusion skill which was a combination of the powers of 2 8-ring soul masters should be as strong as the abilities of a titled Douluo. Currently, they were 2 of the strongest in the world of soul masters. As for how strong the goddess of light was, no one knew as of now. The goddess of light lifted her head to look at the sky, revealing a complex look in her eyes. Following this, a gentle, golden glow rippled from her body. Everything seemed to turn illusory within this golden glow. 2 figures separated from the goddess of light. Under the golden light, they turned back into Huo Yuao and Tang Wutong. 4 eyes met. Huo Yuao was already in tears. A tall, big man was now crying like a child. Huo Yuao had turned his yearning for Wang Dongge into the 3 ultimate Haodong skills. Right now, his yearning for Wang Dongge had turned into love and tears. He hadn't expected such a surprise today. This surprise enhanced his life and made him long for life. It was everything. It was the courage to carry on living, the will to pursue excellence and the confidence to reach for the godly realm. When Wang Dongge was in a coma, Huo Yuao's entire world had turned grey, but it was now colorful once again. Dongge. Huo Yuao hugged her. He hugged her tightly, as if he wanted to make her a part of him. He only felt that his mind and heart were being enhanced right now. His soul power was surging, and the Haodong power was unleashed the instant he hugged Tang Wutong. His passageways widened, and thick soul power undulations surrounded both him and Tang Wutong. Tang Wutong lay in his embrace. Her arms circled around his waist and back. She gently said, "I'm Tang Wutong, not Dongge. It's not important. It's not important right now." Huo Yuao said agitatedly. He wasn't willing to let go of her anymore. He had found his love again. This feeling made him feel as if he had earned a new life. Zhang Lisan and Han Riro looked at each other and smiled. The 2 of them said together, "A union has been made. Huo Yuao, Tang Wutong, congratulations. Thank you, thank you." Huo Yuao couldn't say anything else right now. His heart was already filled by the person in his arms. He gently touched the icy surface with his toes and shot into the sky. In the next instant, he turned into a beam of golden light that disappeared deep into Sea God's Island. It was only at this instant that everyone on Sea God's Lake and the shore of Sea God's Lake reacted. Although most people didn't know what had happened, they saw what the result was. They saw that astonishing yet touching scene. Suddenly, the atmosphere at the Sea God's fated blind date was raised to the extreme. Huo Yuao didn't return to the Sea God's pavilion. He hugged Tang Wutong as he flew to the platform that they had fought on together before. This was the quietest place on the island right now. They wouldn't be disturbed. Huo Yuao continued to hug her tightly even as they landed. It was as if he really wanted to fuse her with him. It was only now that Huo Yuao felt that everything that had happened before was unreal. Yes, it was unreal. There was nothing more appropriate than the Haodong power to prove Tang Wutong's identity. The Haodong power only belonged to him and her. Even though it was much stronger than it was before, its origin was still the same. He was too familiar with this. He was too familiar. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.